So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K24 Next Gen. In today's video, we're going to be continuing with our off-season rebuild series, and today it's going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers. Just a few nights ago, the Cleveland Cavaliers were eliminated by the Boston Celtics in 5 games. In total, this wasn't a great season for Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell was out for 20 games throughout the course of the regular season. He's their franchise player, and then he missed the final 2 games of the series against the Celtics. So this is a Cleveland team that's going to be entering a very uncertain offseason. You know, the future of Donovan Mitchell with this team, certainly up in the air. There's some players that definitely could be on their way out, i.e. Darius Garland, potentially Jared Allen. So this is a team in definitely a little bit of a sticky situation right now, although there is certainly a lot of talent here today. So I'm not sure what we're going to do today. We're going to pick a direction at some point in time, but the good news for us and the good news for Cavs fans, I guess, is that 2K really loves this team. We'll talk about the rest of this roster and kind of just some of my general thoughts on players and where I think we can go with them as soon as we do get into the video. But of course, before we do, as always, let me know any other video ideas down below in the comments section. Of course, much like we are right now, as more and more teams do get eliminated, we'll have more and more off-season rebuilds to go. So thought we'd end the week with a nice Cavs rebuild here on Friday. I am very much looking forward to this one. And I promise you, just because my Celtics eliminated them does not mean I'm not going to give 100% effort. I promise you, we're going to get a championship today. Let's get into it. All right, we are here in off-season number 1. We're going to do 3 off-seasons, 3 regular seasons, as we have done throughout this entire series so far. So nothing is changing on that front. As you can see, we're simmed up all the way to staff signing. I'm sure many of you are aware, but this is the saved file that I use for every off-season or prospect rebuild. It has the first round of the draft right in the correct order. So that's why we are here. That's why we are simmed up. Let's talk about this roster, because I certainly have some thoughts. Darius Garland was not great by any stretch of the imagination. He had a relatively solid game 4. That was the first game that Donovan Mitchell missed against the Celtics. Other than that, there wasn't much there. I wasn't impressed really much with the efficiency. And again, it's not like efficiency's crazy important come playoff time. But again, there just wasn't really much to love. I think he's a liability on the defensive end. I didn't love a lot of the shot selection. Looked like a lot of it was forced. And honestly, there were a lot of times, 2 nights ago specifically, him going one-on-one with Al Horford and didn't really go too well for him. So that's honestly not great. He's obviously getting paid a lot of money, so any team that takes him on is going to have to take on that contract as well. So not a certain thing that he's going to be moved on from. I think there is obviously still room for him to grow, and overall-wise, I do think he's a good player. Just can he be a starting point guard on a championship team one day? Who knows? Craig Porter Jr. was out for this series. I don't know. Maybe there's a little something there for him to be a role player. Ty Jerome, I guess, kind of the same thing. The shooting guard spot, the man of the hour, the face of the team right now in Donovan Mitchell. Missed Game 4 and Game 5 against the Celtics. And coincidentally, I think they were actually 2 of their 3 best games outside of the Game 2 win. They actually won in Boston. And that's not a shot at Donovan Mitchell. Obviously, when the best player's out, everybody steps their game up. And it's a very different offense. So Donovan Mitchell's incredible. Top 2 or 3 shooting guard in the league, whatever you want to call him. But the question with him is he going to be willing to sign an extension with this team? And, if the answer to that is not yes, or if it's a we'll see down the line, I think Cleveland has to seriously consider moving on from him, because he gave up a very hefty package to pry him away from the Utah Jazz. And ultimately, if he doesn't really feel there's success here possible with this team moving forward, I think you got to move him, because you certainly can't lose him for nothing in a couple off seasons. That's what you cannot do. So I expect Cleveland to listen. I don't really know who is number 1 right now. I know Miami, Brooklyn. These are teams that have certainly been talked about as locations, but we'll see. Karis LeVert is here. Actually looked pretty decent against the Celtics for a little while in that series. He didn't play Game 5. He was injured as well. I mean, the injury bug just hit this team very hard. But he's certainly a serviceable role player. Sam Merrill, who I actually thought didn't play enough in this series. Really good 3-point shooter. Ultimately just didn't see the floor enough to really make too big of an impact. But the shooting's there. Maybe not the defense so much, even though I think he did a decent job defensively in the minutes he saw. Max Strus. I fucking hate Max Strus. I'm not going to lie to you. No. In all seriousness, though, Max Strus had a really solid Game 4 in the first half especially. I think he was 5 of 6 from the 3-point line in that first half. And they obviously brought him in last offseason from the Miami Heat to kind of be that, really good 3-point shooter in this starting 5, especially when you go double bigs with Mobley and Allen. There's not a lot of shooting in that front court. So Max Strus can kind of help bridge that gap there. So I have no plans on what we're going to do with him. It's going to be kind of a year-to-year basis, see how his regression goes, because unfortunately for everybody, it's pretty high. I didn't love a lot of what I saw Isaac Okoro in this series. He is going to be somebody who they're probably going to have to pay, and I don't really know what that price tag is going to be, but I'm not in love with the idea of Isaac Okoro as a starting small forward moving forward. All right, power forward spot. Evan Mobley, had a really, really solid Game 5. I think it was by far his best game of the series. He looked really good defensively. He was awesome on the boards, and ultimately, obviously, got the scoring going as well. So, the defense has never been in question with him. It's about, can he take that next step offensively? Obviously, he had the knee surgery this season, and I really do think he's going to be kind of one of the main franchise pieces for them moving forward. So, I will sit here and tell you, I think he's a center. I don't think he's a power forward. I understand Jared Allen's here as well. That's on all likelihood why he's playing the 4, but we're going to have to figure it out. George's Niang, who has the ideal male body, I will say. I'm just kidding. I don't really know what we'll do with George. We'll see. Dean Wade is here as well. Pretty good three-point shooter. I know he was injured for some time as well. Jared Allen missed the entire series after suffering an injury in the 7-game series in the round 1 against Orlando. Tristan Thompson was actually pretty good for the minutes he saw, and then Damian Jones. So that's the team. Obviously, there is certainly some talent here and some young talent at that. We just got to decide what we want to do. Here in 2K, anyways, we have the luxury of knowing damn well that if we want to re-sign Donovan Mitchell, we will, and we are going to be able to. So I don't have plans to trade him. I think there's a likely chance this offseason he does get moved. Unfortunately, that's never going to come true today. JB Bickerstaff, he certainly takes some heat from Cavs fans. I know a lot of people are sometimes disappointed with his rotations and some of the minutes that guys see, especially when they really kind of go out there and show you something, then they don't really play a whole lot. For me, I don't think he's necessarily a top end coach. I think he's kind of right in the middle of that pack. He's certainly not one of the worst in the league. Ratings are decent enough here. I'll hang on to him for now. Now, that's not permanent. That's not a lifetime contract or anything like that. But heading into a year, especially with how much 2K loves this team, we'll see. All right, we do have the 20th overall pick, which is certainly a nice asset. It's not something, amazing, but 20th overall pick's not nothing. So in all likelihood, we will draft somebody there. If I'm thinking positionally, backup point guard could be an option, maybe a backup shooting guard just because LeVert's pushing 30 at this point. Small forward, probably not. Maybe a power forward, and then honestly, maybe a center. So there are certainly some options there. We have a lot of needs on this team, specifically in the bench area, and Donovan Clingan's sitting here. Donovan Clingan falls in these drafts quite a bit. All right, I think that makes a lot of sense. I could also go after Zach Edey, who obviously was just very, very good in his time at Purdue in college. But then again, Clingan did beat him in the national championship. Clingan's also the overall highest rated prospect. Now, I know I got him in a video the other day, and I will not do it moving forward. But today, especially with the needs we have on this team, it feels like it makes a lot of sense. So, Donovan Clingan, welcome to Cleveland. All right, no team player options for us. We will qualify Isaac Okoro. Again, I don't necessarily love the idea of maybe paying him a lot of money going forward. But what is he going to ask for? He wants about $10.5 million. I can actually live with that price. That's fine. This team doesn't have any money anyways. Is Pete Nance related to Larry Nance? I think he probably is. Amani Bates, I don't know. Probably just not really worth it for me here in a 3-year rebuild. So Okoro is back. I do not want to run this group back exactly the way it was. So at least 1 or 2 trades will be made. We're going to make a deal here with the Toronto Raptors, and it's not a deal that makes a ton of sense. We're really doing this for the draft pick, but we're also getting a relatively nice young player here in Ochai Agbaji, who I believe, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, he was a piece technically in the Donovan Mitchell trade. I believe so. So this is a deal with the Toronto Raptors. Georges Niang, Sam Merrill, Ty Jerome heading to Toronto. 2026 first unprotected could be very big. The Raptors aren't necessarily in a great spot right now, so this is 2 drafts away because 25 is next year. And then it'll be 26, but it certainly still could be a valuable pick. And then Agbaji, I don't know how much hope I really have, but we're certainly getting younger at that power forward spot, and we're giving up a bunch of guys I didn't really want to play anyways. So I'm excited about this deal. It feels like a really good kind of first trade to kick off this offseason. Our final trade of offseason number 1 is going to come with the Charlotte Hornets. They want to give me a first-round pick in 2027 for Dean Wade and a 26 second. Now, Dean Wade is under contract for multiple years, but ultimately, I don't really have a need for him. I think depth is important in real life, and obviously shows when teams are as injured as Cleveland was this year. But here in 2K, when we don't have a lot of picks moving forward, and depth obviously isn't as big of an issue because injuries are off, I'm certainly going to prioritize the draft pick. So, first-round pick for Dean Wade is definitely not on my bingo list or bingo card, but it ended up happening. So, I'm going to keep this team intact. I think between how much 2K likes it, another year of development, no injuries, I do think this team will be better than they technically were last season. So this is probably a make or break year for Garland, though. If he just isn't good moving forward, we're ultimately probably going to look to move on. But this is going to be the 10-man rotation we have for year number 1 here in Cleveland. I'm excited to see what this team can do. Let's set the rotation. We did not have the craziest offseason by any means, which is very likely very different than what the Cavs offseason will actually look like this season. But this is a talented team. It's nice to see some development here for Garland. And there's really not a lot of surprises with the way this team's kind of shaken out. So Garland and Mitchell going to be in the backcourt. Obviously, it is a bit of an undersized backcourt, but I think it'll be fine here. Anyways, I'm going to start Strus at the 3. The game's recommending I start Okoro. I'm going with Strus because I want to have the really good three-point shooter in here with Mobley and Allen. I understand that Mobley can occasionally hit some three-point shots, but this gives us an option that is literally always going to be there. Mobley and Allen in the front court, not a lot of surprises there. I don't think anybody's too shocked by that. And then the bench unit, I think is actually pretty good. I'm excited about it. Okoro's going to be my sixth man here. Certainly could have went with LeVert, but again, we just paid Okoro. I want to see him grow as much as possible in a six-man role. You got Karis LeVert here as well. Craig Porter Jr. will be my backup point guard. Donovan Clingan, who we just drafted 20th overall. It's crazy that he always falls. He's likely going to be a top 5 pick. And then Ochai Agbaji, who we obviously traded for from the Toronto Raptors. So this is the team. I think there could definitely make some noise. I'd like to think we can be a top 3 seed, and time will tell. See you guys at the end of year number 1. Year 1 comes to an end, and it sees us finish with a regular season record of 60-22. Obviously, that is a really good starting point, especially considering we didn't really make many major changes to this team anyways. I've said it like 6 times now, but we all know how much 2K really does love the Cavs. Luka's your MVP, a 34-point triple-double. Those are insane numbers, insane splits. Very much worth the MVP. Ron Holland, Atlanta took him number 1 overall. He wins Rookie of the Year. Bobby Portis Jr., 6th man. Wemby, your D-Boy. Men Thompson, Most Improved Player. Trae Young does win Clutch Player of the Year. Mark Daignault, head coach of the 62-20 Oklahoma City Thunder, is your coach of the year. So are we the 1 seed in the East? My guess is yes, and we are. We were 9 games up on the Hawks for that 1 seed, and we had the second best record in all of basketball. So very happy with the way things are going right now. Obviously, we still have a very big playoff run coming up, especially because it is this man right here's contract season. Darius Garland had a pretty solid season for us. Now, I'm going to judge him a lot more on his playoff play, so let's just be perfectly clear about that. 22, 2.5, and then 8, along with 1 steal a game while shooting 50% from the field, especially as a guy 6 feet tall. It's pretty impressive, but we'll see. Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, Max Strus, LeVert, Porter, Clingan, Okoro was not really there in the scoring department. Now, I know he obviously wasn't really starting, but the shooting splits are down as well. Points per game, rebounds, assists, everything really is. What was the minutes like? Yeah, he played 7 less minutes, but I don't know, man. All right, who's it going to be for us round 1? It is us, the Milwaukee Bucks. Certainly not the easiest first-round opponent. It is Dame, Pat Connaughton, Middleton, Giannis, and Brook Lopez. All right, here goes nothing in round 1. Why the Bucks are a play-in team, I have no idea. We dropped the first 2 and the first 3. We do in game 4, and we get bounced in 5. Not the way I wanted the playoffs to go, especially for year 1. Let's take a look at the playoff numbers. I obviously am going to determine a lot about the future with this team based on this series. It wasn't a great series from Mitchell, and for his standards, the 3-point shooting was abysmal. I'm not going to lie to you. And a 4-point drop-off's never great. Garland was relatively solid. Actually, really good. This series isn't on him. Allen, Mobley certainly took a little bit of a step back in terms of scoring. And good God, the field goal percentage for somebody who's damn near 7 feet tall. Yeah, that's pretty bad. All right, well, that obviously did not end the way we thought it was going to or the way we wanted to. I understand we had a really challenging opponent in round 1 who is now in the finals, but we lost to the champs. So I guess there's really not a lot of shame in that. It's a shitty matchup and it's a shitty result. So LeBron, I can't override it because I did in year 1. So we're going to have some decisions to make. Who else retired? Oh, wow. Brook Lopez, Al Horford, Iggy. Iggy's been doing a podcast for a few years now. Come on, 2K. All right, so we're going to head into this season right here, deciding if we want to run it back. And I don't think there's any shame in saying, hey, maybe 1 or 2 moves wouldn't absolutely kill us. I certainly don't want to blow up this team, and my number 1 real priority is going to be bringing back Donovan Mitchell. This is a big decision. I think we had a fantastic regular season, and that's absolutely great. I'm very disappointed about the way the playoff run went, but ultimately I am going to give him his final year of his contract. I am of the belief that J.B. Bickerstaff, as I talked about last season, is certainly not the best, but he's certainly not the worst coach in basketball. And I am going to let him ride out the final season, and next offseason we'll determine that. So let's see what we got in the draft here. Do we have our own first? We do not. We have 2 seconds. I'm going to pass. I don't really think these seconds are going to benefit this team at all. So we'll trade him for some future ones. And so Donovan Mitchell declines as expected. Agbaji for $6.5 million is a little expensive, but maybe he'll be an asset. All right, so Donovan Mitchell, also Evan Mobley entering restricted free agency, so a little bit different there. Obviously, our top two guys, and then Karis LeVert as well. So Mitchell has 9 offers, none of which appear to be serious interest at all. So we're just going to pay the man, and then Evan Mobley wants $36 million. It's tough paying these two, this much money. Or not tough, but obviously I'm going to do it, but coming off that playoff series that they both just had, which obviously wasn't really fantastic. So we're going to bring back all 3 of these guys. Spencer Dinwiddie was on this team. Dean Wade, we have a $6.5 million trade exception. I think it is time to make a move, though. We're going to have a conversation here with the Toronto Raptors and see if there's any possible way for us to land RJ Barrett. Now, I know there's probably better options out there than RJ Barrett, and I'd certainly like to entertain some of those, and I'm not going to lie to you, I actually already have, and unfortunately, we did not have the assets for it. So, RJ Barrett would certainly be an upgrade in this starting 5. There's absolutely nothing wrong with Max Strus and Isaac Okoro. I didn't love some of the numbers I saw from them, but ultimately, I think we need another upgrade, and RJ Barrett would provide that for us. So how about we make a deal? I don't have a lot of other players I can give up. I do have some draft picks. Now, I do want to hang on to this Toronto pick. Obviously, we take one of their best players away. That pick's only going to be even more valuable. So that's kind of another reason why I'm considering doing this. But I have some assets here. I'd like to think maybe 2 seconds could possibly get this done. It does not. All right, I want to hang on to the remaining first-round picks I have. So maybe like a Chai Agbaje, who's entering a contract year, could be somebody we move on from, and that's fine. All right, so RJ Barrett is now here. Again, I know he's not some superstar or anything like that, and certainly some of the three-point shooting numbers are a little bit concerning, but he is an upgrade, and as I'm sure many of you are aware, 2K loves when you have high overalls on your team. So I think at this point, the only thing we're going to do is try to find some more backups. I think there potentially could be maybe one more trade as well. So let's just see here in free agency who are some of the options we have here. Ooh, Josh Green sitting here? I'd be more than willing to spend my mid-level exception on him. All right, yeah, Josh Green, still relatively young as well. I think it's a nice addition to this team. And then I get Luke Kennard way too much. I really do. Jose Alvarado isn't even a terrible option. You know what I might do? I might bring in Jose Alvarado. I like the way Jose Alvarado hustles. I really do. There's something about the way he plays that I like a lot. All right, so which unfortunately means Craig Porter Jr. probably on his way out. If I thought his ceiling was a little higher, I'd probably end up hanging on to him. But I think at this point we have to trade him for either a power forward or a shooting guard because I'm going to probably trade Karis LeVert as well. So let's just look. Power forward, shooting guard, either of those two options would certainly be welcomed here. Keon Ellis, actually not a horrible option because, again, Craig Porter Jr. is not making a lot of money. So Toumani Camara here. I mean, those numbers aren't great, but that overall is pretty nice, especially because he's on a multi-year deal. All right, that's the trade we're going to make there. And then I don't have to trade LeVert now. I hypothetically could hang on to him, but if an option comes out that is a little bit younger, maybe a little bit more potential, I'll take it. If not, we'll just hang on to Karis here. So let's see. Anybody here? Shooting guard? Ooh, Deuce is here? He's just a little undersized to maybe play the 2. I know. Christian Brown's here. Tyrese Proctor. I know it says Prosper. Damn. Do I take Christian Brown? I think I have to, right? Maybe his overall will go down 1 or 2 just because he's listed as a small forward, but I'm going to take Christian Brown. I think I'd rather have Christian Brown 2 years from now than I would Karis LeVert. All right, we're going to pull that trade off there with Denver. He goes down 1 overall. It is not the end of the world. I will see you guys at the start of year number 2. Year 1 was a 60-win season for us, and then we got bounced in round 1 by a play-in team. Now, that play-in team did go on to win it all, but it was still an unfortunate and unacceptable ending to our season. So, this offseason, we decided to make a couple big moves. We pretty much completely revamped this bench unit, added another guy in the starting 5 in RJ Barrett, and I am really excited to see how another year of development, along with the new pieces we added, kind of fits together. So, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell remain our backcourt. As I mentioned, I am still a little bit nervous about the size of these two guys. But you know what? I think we'll make it work. New addition here with RJ Barrett at the 3. He's playing next to a lot of names, a lot of guys that can put up points, can play defense, so hopefully that benefits him a little bit. And then Mobley and Allen will remain our front court. Really no surprises there. Bench unit's a little bit different this year. Christian Brown's going to be my 6th man. We made the big trade for him with the Denver Nuggets, giving up Karis LeVert. I have a lot of belief in him and his potential, so he is going to be playing 6-man minutes off the bench. Donovan Clingan, who's actually developing quite nicely. He'll be our backup center here, playing 18 a game. You got Josh Green, who we signed with our mid-level exception. Toumani Camara, who we traded for. And then Jose Alvarado, who, did we trade it? No, we signed him out of free agency. So, yeah, it's pretty much an entirely new bench outside of Donovan Clingan, who only played, 12 minutes a game last year? 14 maybe? So, this team has talent. There's really no denying that. It's just, whether everything can click at the same time or not. I will see you guys at the end of year number 2. We improved by 2 games throughout the course of this regular season. We go 64-18. Not a crazy improvement, but I will certainly take it. It's another MVP for Luka. It's another triple-double. Only 29.5 points this time. Come on, man. Let's work on that. Cooper Flag's Rookie of the Year. He's in Brooklyn. Anthony Simons, 6th Man of the Year, coming off the bench in Portland. Wemby, anybody surprised by that? Dyson Daniels, Most Improved. Okay. All right. Zion, Clutch Player of the Year, and JB Bickerstaff does win Coach of the Year for us. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that if we don't have a good playoff run, our Coach of the Year will be fired, but it's been done before. So let's take a look at the standings. We're the 1 seed. Not a ton of surprise there. We did have the best record in basketball last season. I think we had the 2nd best. And let's take a look at some of the numbers real quick. That's the G League. That's not exactly what I was looking at. Let's take a look at some of the numbers here. It was Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, RJ Barrett kind of emerged as that 3rd option for us, which of course doesn't require Mobley to score as much, where maybe that benefits him a little bit. I don't really know. But 6 guys, which is fantastic, in double digits. So I will certainly take it. Rebounds per game was Evan Mobley, and assists was Darius Garland. So round 1 of the playoffs. Okay. Orlando's good. They're young. There's a lot of talent here, but I will certainly take that over the Milwaukee Bucks. You know, Giannis and Dame scare me a lot more than Paolo and Franz. Was Franz even there? Oh, yeah, he is. All right, here goes nothing. We're up 3-0, and we do end up winning in a sweep. Now we are moving on to the New York Knicks. Jalen Brunson, DiVincenzo, Hamidou Diallo, not a name I've heard in a long time. Randall, Capella. All right, this doesn't. Having both of them, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. All right, here goes nothing in the Eastern Conference semifinals. We are currently up 3-0, and that's a sweep. We have yet to lose a playoff game. Us and the Atlanta Hawks, they no longer have Trae Young. Why? I have absolutely no idea. They have Desmond Bane coming off the bench now as a 6th man. They got Josh Hart there, Sadiq Bey. How many low 80 overalls do you need coming off the bench? Okay, so a lot of depth there. I think we have the more star power for sure, and we have yet to lose a game as we march on. I think it said Thunder, so they might have just... Oh, wow. What a fucking... 75% from 3? I understand it's only a 4-game series, but that's still insane. Yeah, it's the Thunder. They just gave Luka Conference Finals MVP. So the Thunder are always annoying. You all know this pretty much damn well at this point, and this team is good. They're talented. They certainly have the skill set to play both ways, and then just Josh Giddey's here as well. So let's go ahead and see if we can maybe get a championship here. We finally do lose a game. Up 2-1, up 3-1, and on the verge of closing them out on our home floor. I'd like to capitalize on this opportunity. I do not want to go back to Oklahoma City. I'd like to just win right now. So if we can... Just fucking around out here. Well, it only actually ended up being a 3-point game, but I still don't love that. I didn't mean to hit that. I meant hit Simcast. All right, well, now we're here in a Game 7. It's do or die for both teams. Back in Cleveland. We've lost 2 straight. I'd like to think we can maybe hold on and not blow a 3-1 lead. I'd like to think so. All right, we look like we're going to be in a good spot. I'll see you guys in there. 3.5 minutes away from our first championship of this video. I'm obviously very happy right now. I would have been very, very upset, and there would have been some blockbuster trades made this offseason if we had hypothetically blown a 3-1 lead. But we are not going to do that. Donovan Mitchell, oh my God. 44. I didn't even see that. Holy shit. He is very much, I'm assuming anyways, on his way to a finals MVP. And I guess we can talk about the Cavs a little bit. I know we've kind of talked about all the big things at this point, but the future of Donovan Mitchell, even if maybe he has shut down some of the trade rumors and some of the rumors that maybe he was a little disappointed with some of his teammates throughout the regular season, he's shut that down. I still really do think there's a possibility they maybe move on from him. Not because he's a bad player or anything was his fault, but ultimately you got to make decisions that are best for the organization. And if he's not going to sign a contract extension, which certainly he still could, I'm not saying that's completely ruled out. I don't think anybody's ruled that out. But if he's not willing to do that, I think it's a horrendous decision from a team standpoint to risk heading into what could be an unrestricted free agency year for him, right? And if you're going to move him, don't wait till the deadline and do it last minute. That's just, it's dumb. It's going to ruin your regular season. Because what happens if, you're sludging through the regular season with Donovan Mitchell there, he still won't commit to a contract extension. You're locked in as like a 6 seed. Then you end up just ruining your tank job for a good draft pick. And I don't really know what the future draft pick situation exactly looks like. I don't know how many more of these picks are committed to Utah from the original Donovan Mitchell trade, but it's certainly something to consider with the timeline, but you also got to go on his timeline a little bit with, his contract extension and all that stuff. So the Cleveland trade always felt like it wasn't really exactly where he wanted to be. I know New York, like the Knicks were brought up a lot. I know Brooklyn at one point was certainly, in the conversation, and Miami's always going to be a destination just because, it's South Beach. I get it. Even though I don't like Miami, I understand it. They're obviously a fantastic destination to go. Great organization. So, all of these teams, probably not the Knicks anymore, but will likely be putting together trade packages. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but it's certainly something to consider. Something else would obviously be the future of guys like Darius Garland and Jared Allen. Are they really sustainable, true, number 2, number 3 options, number 4 options really for Allen on a potential championship team one day? And I don't know the answer to that question. So a lot of questions and a lot of decisions to make for Cleveland this offseason. It's going to be a very fluid offseason for them. If I had to guess, if I had to put money on it, I would say that it is more likely than not that I believe Donovan Mitchell will be on his way out. But that's certainly TBD, and I always look forward to the NBA offseason. I mentioned this in a video the other day. The NBA offseason, even when it's not the craziest free agency class, and we don't see a lot of crazy free agency classes anymore. It's not like it was even 6-7 years ago. A lot of guys just end up re-signing with that team and then getting traded if they want to end up being moved. But it always delivers, the NBA offseason. It always delivers. There's always at least 1 or 2 big names moved. Most of the time, it's even more than that. So it's why we all love the league, man. It really is. Outside of the actual game of basketball, we all love the drama. And I'm looking forward to more of it this offseason. So happy we got a championship here. Cleveland, this is for you. That is a championship here in year 2. And no, it is not a Donovan Mitchell Finals MVP. It is an Evan Mobley Finals MVP. Now, I'm not saying it wasn't deserved. Those numbers were pretty solid, but I am just kind of curious. What did Donovan put up in the finals? I'm just genuinely interested. All right, he was our number 2 option. What was the three-point shooting like? Pretty good. I don't know. It just looks like we played kind of balanced hoops throughout the course of the NBA Finals. So I get it. I'm still more than happy to win a championship. I don't really care as the Finals MVP. And now we will head into our final offseason before we end up ending this video. So we're certainly still going to try to win another one, but I don't think we're going to make many more major changes. We'll take a look at the draft lottery real quick, and we are projected the 6th overall pick from Toronto. That's the trade we made in the first offseason to acquire that draft pick with Georges Niang and I think a couple other players in there that certainly we're never going to. Oh my God, it's number 2. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. All right, JB Bickerstaff will be coming back. It's hard to not bring back a coach that just won you a championship, even if, Mike Malone's sitting here. I like Mike Malone a lot. But JB Bickerstaff, where are you, friend? Come on, friend, where are you? No, nothing. Did I miss him? This game, why it makes it so hard to re-sign the coach that you just had, it's beyond me. Am I losing my mind? No, we're in the... Did he retire? Oh. I missed that. All right, well, maybe Mike Malone would be interested in coming here then. I don't know. I'll make an offer I'll offer Nick Nurse, and then I'm also going to offer, where is Mike Malone? Because I do think he is one of the best head coaches in basketball. If we can get Mike, I'd be happy with it. We'll take Mike Malone. Welcome to Cleveland. I don't know. All right, so up to the draft. We obviously got pretty lucky in the lottery. We had the Toronto pick. It jumped from 6 to 2, and now I'm not really sure what I want to do with it. I'm not going to make a major trade. I think there are some options to maybe improve the end of this bench a little bit. I don't know who that's going to be for, but let's just see who is sitting here and who's available. So number 1 overall is Cameron Boozer. I believe it's Carlos Boozer's son. He is going to be going to the Chicago Bulls, and now we have our option of pretty much everybody else. So AJ Debonsta, I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, is certainly an option. Darren Peterson is also sitting here. I do not know a lot about him. I don't know a lot about anybody in this draft class. I'd be lying if I said I did. So AJ is probably the more responsible pick. Who was my backup small forward last season? Yeah, I don't know. I'll make it work. All right, welcome to the team. It wasn't Christian Brown. I moved Christian Brown to the 2. Oh, it was Josh Green. That's fine. We'll more than welcome AJ here. He'll be my new backup small forward, and then I'll find a trade. All right, qualifying Christian Brown will be entering restricted free agency. I wish I had Luka Doncic money. I do not, unfortunately. So Jared Allen, unrestricted free agency, has kind of a fake bullshit offer from Detroit, so we'll pay him, and then Christian Brown as well. Welcome back, both of you. All right, we'll be making one trade. I'll see you guys with whatever move that is. We're talking to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we're going to see if they'd be willing to trade us Cason Wallace. He'd be an upgrade in terms of our backup point guard. Obviously, at this moment, we have Jose Alvarado, and I certainly would have included him in the trade. Unfortunately, the money doesn't work. So, in terms of value, they're not too far off from each other. I have some draft picks. I don't have a ton of draft picks, so you can take them all. It's the final season. I don't really care. But I'd like to add Wallace to this team, and I think we can get it done. And we do. All right, so Alvarado, I could maybe consider a trade with him in, if I wanted to upgrade to Monty Kamara. If not, who the hell really cares at this point? Unless there's a power forward that's pushing 80 overall, then we'll probably just kind of call it a day at this point. I don't really think there's a reason to force anything when we don't really have... Oh, my God. Can you imagine? Well, hypothetically, if I had Ben Simmons move him to the power forward spot, I'm doing it for the fucking memes at this point. I don't care. It's never a trade I would make if it was literally any other circumstance, but I believe if you move Simmons to the power forward spot, actually he goes up even more at the small forward spot. Oh, wait, that's... Yeah, he's at 83 overall at power forward. So I understand he's Ben Simmons. We have injuries off, and unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess for us, team chemistry doesn't really matter. I have no idea what I just did. I'll see you guys at the start of the final regular season. It was obviously awesome to win a championship last season. We have unfortunately, or I guess for maybe fortunately, we've turned the page. It is a new season. It's not a new era, but it is a new season. We are hoping to win another one, so we got to put those memories in the past. We did not make any changes to the starting five. It is Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, RJ Barrett, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. For God knows what reason, we decided to make some changes to the bench. I think it is an upgraded and an improved bench, but it is what it is. Cason Wallace, new addition here. My backup point guard is my sixth man. You get Donovan Clingan developing quite nicely as my backup center. AJ DeBonsta, I'm probably butchering it, but he will be my backup small forward. 83 overall. Ben Simmons is my backup power forward. I know it's a funny trade. And then I do actually feel kind of bad for Christian Brown. He was our sixth man last year. Now he's falling to our 10th man, but we improved the bench. I don't really know what to tell you. So it is what it is. I will see you guys at the end of the final regular season. It was a great final regular season. Some might say the greatest ever. 74-8. Yeah, that was our record. It is the greatest regular season in NBA history. I don't know if this team was as talented as the 2015-16 Warriors, but I'll take it. Luke is your MVP. Cameron Boozer does win Rookie of the Year. Dylan Harper, sixth man. Wemby, another depoy. Harper also wins Most Improved. Jalen Brunson, clutch player. That's a deserving award. And our new head coach, Mike Malone, is your Coach of the Year. So I'm overall very happy with this team. Ultimately, you know, there wasn't a lot in terms of the player personnel improved. Nothing in the starting five. We did maybe, I guess, upgrade the bench a little bit, but I am still very confident in this team's ability, no matter who's out there. So Donovan Mitchell, Garland. It's actually really impressive that Mitchell's still like hitting his numbers. You know, kind of like all around. I mean, there's a little fall off, but not really. With how much other talent is honestly around him on this team. So, I mean, the most Ben Simmons stat line ever. Rebounds per game is Evan Mobley, and assists is Garland. Round one of the playoffs, obviously, as a one seed, it is the Brooklyn Nets, who now have Trae Young, got Sexton, Bridges, Cooper Flag. All right, pretty good rebuild going on there in Brooklyn. I think we're still going to smoke them, but it's a pretty good job. Good thing they've got going on there. So we are up 3-1 right now, and that is a win in 5. Moving on to the Magic here in round 2. Yeah, I mean, they're, well, all right. Well, Eastern Conference Finals, us in New York. Brunson, DiVincenzo, Drake Powell, Randall, Robinson, and Capella still here. Yves Mystery. I don't really know. That name kind of sounds familiar. All right, we are currently up 3-0, and nobody's surprised we are in the NBA Finals. And we're taking on the Thunder once again, who did win 66 games. Their season was obviously very impressive. I still think we're better than them, and let's hopefully go out there and prove that for the second straight year. Not a good start. Are you serious? Are we serious right now? Don't do this to me. They did it to me. All right, well, that is certainly a disappointing ending. You know, it would have been nice to get another championship. I feel like every time I go like 74-8 or better, I don't win the championship. I'm probably wrong on that. It's just kind of what I feel. This was a fun rebuild, though. This was a fun rebuild. Obviously, you know, talked about it 85 fucking times at this point. I know you get it, but 2K loves the Cavs a lot more than, you know, the actual real world does. So there's a lot of talent here, especially in this game, and we certainly took advantage of that talent. Maybe some of you wanted to see me trade Donovan Mitchell or Jarrett Allen or Darius Garland. Decided not to go that route. If we didn't win one last year, that definitely would have been an option. Not Mitchell, but the other two. But didn't end up having to do that. So it was a fun video. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Let me know any other video ideas down below in the comment section. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.